President Trump setting his sights on some vulnerable Democrats in his effort to protect the GOP's Senate majority. And Joe Manchin is shaping up to be his top target this fall. The president reportedly told Republican senators in a closed-door meeting on Capitol Hill this week that he plans to spend significant time campaigning against Manchin in West Virginia, a state he won by 42 points in 2016. Republicans are not just hoping to maintain their 51-49 seat majority in the Senate in November, but perhaps pick up a few seats as well. Colorado Senator Cory Gardner is the man in charge of that effort. He's chairman of the National Republican Senatorial Committee. Welcome, Senator.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Sure. Mitch McConnell, your majority leader, I think, warned Republicans the other day that this is going to be a real fight to keep the Senate majority. How precarious do you feel it is?
Yeah, if you go by historical standards and norms, I think the midterm losses a Senate majority has when it shares the majority with the White House, or the party of the White House, the same with the House, can be substantial.
Right.
But nothing really has followed history over the past couple of years with the election of this president and some of the things that have been accomplished. So I don't see any reason why we should start following history. I feel very optimistic about this election cycle.
And of course, the one reason is you have that big playing field. 10 states where there are Democrats running that Donald Trump won, some narrowly, but some, as in Manchin, very big. But you've got to pick up a couple of those seats, don't you? Because I see you in trouble perhaps in Nevada, where Dean Heller's running as an incumbent. Arizona, open seat, that could be a toss-up. And then Tennessee, where the Democrat, Phil Bredesen, is ahead right now.
Yeah, let's start with Tennessee. I think when Senator Schumer talks about winning the majority back, he talks about going through Tennessee. And that's why we take Tennessee very seriously. Marsha Blackburn's running an outstanding campaign. She's doing everything she can to build support within Tennessee. And Tennessee, after all, is not Los Angeles, California. This is Tennessee. It's a state that supports Donald Trump. It's a state that supports Republican candidates. At the end of the day, while this will be a race, they always are, Marsha Blackburn will prevail. If you look at Nevada and Arizona, these are tough states. They're in the West. The West has become a battleground in many respects. I'm from the West. I know these states very well as well. And Arizona, Nevada are going to be fights. But you've got incredible candidates there. Dean Heller in Nevada, who's doing an outstanding job. He understands the mechanics of Nevada. He's representing Nevada. You just look at this past week where he was able to make a clear difference in the battle on Yucca Mountain. He can stop Yucca Mountain in the Senate. His opponent in the House can't do that. That's something the people of Nevada very much care about.
All right. Let's look at Arizona, because you have a primary there. That's late primary in August, and you have Martha McSally, Congresswoman, running, Kelly Ward, who's run in the past, running as well, and Joe Arpaio, the sheriff, running. Can Kelly Ward or Joe Arpaio, can they win if they come out of that primary? Can they win the Senate seat?
Yeah, you know, I think what will happen is Martha McSally, who's leading in the primary right now, goes on to win the general election there. I think she's the one who wins the primary. Joe Arpaio, I don't think, has viability to win in the general election. Kelly Ward is questionable, but I don't think that's what it comes down to. I think what it comes down to is who the people of Arizona pick. They could care less about what Washington thinks, and that's why you see the polls the way we do in Arizona, and that's Martha McSally leading.
Okay. What my view of your best pickup chances would be North Dakota, Indiana, and probably West Virginia. You agree with that?
You know, I actually think that you throw Missouri into that mix.
You do.
And I think you have this Missouri, Indiana,
very close
North
on the
Dakota,
polls, though.
West
That's
Virginia
only a couple of points ahead. You're
It is, but Missouri is a state that Donald Trump carried by almost 20 points. It's a state that has significant support today for the president. You have an incredible young candidate there, Josh Hawley, who's an outstanding representative for the people of Missouri. And so I do think that this will be an incredible battleground for us. Look, West Virginia is going to be an opportunity. I joked earlier this week that I think President Trump would get residency in West Virginia if he could. He loves it. He's going to be there a lot.
You obviously haven't seen Trump Tower here up close.
Little nice, maybe. Well, you know, we talked about Wheeling. Maybe Wheeling is a setup he can do.
I mean, those are your first four pickups.
Those are four of the pickups. And look, I think into this mix, of course, you have to throw a state like Florida, where public polls have shown Rick Scott ahead 44-40 in Florida. This is going to be a horse race state. It's always tough in Florida, but nobody has campaigned like Rick Scott. Nobody is campaigning like Rick Scott right now. He's on the air with significant resources against basically nothing, and he's a tireless advocate for Florida. People have seen that through tragedies they've had in Florida, whether it's a school shooting or whether it's hurricanes, his response has been overwhelmingly supported by the people of Florida.
Let's talk about the issues, because I pick up some concern among some of your colleagues that the Senate isn't doing much between now and November. Not a lot scheduled, maybe a little budget, maybe some confirmations, but not much else. That hasn't worked very well in the past, and I wonder if that's the right strategy to energize Republican voters, which you need in November.
I think what we have to do is we have to make sure that we remind voters what has been accomplished. We've passed the first significant tax cuts in 31 years, giving people a chance to see rising wages, fewer taxes going to Washington, more dollars staying in their pockets. We've cut $80 billion worth of regulations. We've passed bipartisan legislation to make sure that we get life-saving drugs to the marketplace faster. We've addressed the opioid crisis. We've increased military efforts and resources and spending. We have to remind, and then of course the federal judges and judiciary.
Yeah, but if you list all that, and people are going to say, "What have you done for me lately?"
Yeah.
And as you know, campaigns are about the future. Yeah. So, are you going to pick some fights, some policy fights that people are going to say, you know, it's worth me going to the polls?
You bet. And so I think we remind voters what we have done, but then we also have to lay a groundwork for what we would do and what we continue to do in the future. You're exactly right. And I guess the best example you can use is going back to Harry Reid in 2014, where Harry Reid decided that he wasn't going to, then the majority leader of the Senate, wasn't going to vote on anything because he wanted to protect his members. And I think they voted on like 14 things.
Right.
And
didn't work out well.
Was lost as a result. So I think you will see Republicans move forward with an agenda that continues to focus on economic growth and opportunity, whether that's a budget issues, budget reform, budget package, whether that's a continuation of tax cuts and making tax cuts permanent, making sure that we focus on working families, those kinds of opportunities. But more than anything, you're right, we have to show the American people that we continue to fight for them.
All right, Senator, thanks for coming in.